Hi friends, welcome to week 3. Can you believe it? Week 3 already, which means we're actually heading a little bit towards the halfway mark. Amazing. Anyway, I am thrilled with your discussion forums. I'm thoroughly enjoying listening to your comments, listening to how you're connecting things back to the workplace, so much so that I would like to I wish that we could sit down in a classroom together, but I'd like to hear from each of you. And the way we're going to do that, I'm just giving you a heads up for next week, the week after next. Your discussion forum 3 is already loaded, but discussion forum 4, so at the halfway mark, I'm going to ask that you do a 3 to 5 minute video, a little bit like what I do here. So I'm just giving you a little warning. I know that makes some people a little bit anxious. Shouldn't be that hard to do. You can do it on an iPhone. You can do it on your computer. Most computers have all computers have the capability now. Most, I will say. I've got an ancient desktop that I'm looking at that actually does not, so most do. And you should know, I think most of you do at this point, but you should know that every George Fox student or employee has an automatic private YouTube account simply by way of your email. So if you haven't been on there yet, you can just start digging around. If you just go straight to YouTube and then see if you can sign in through your George Fox email. And then once you're in, it's actually not that hard. The buttons are all pretty clear. You can upload a video. So the way I do it is I happen to use QuickTime because I've got a MacBook Pro and it's just easy for me. I've also done it before on my smartphone. You're just taking a selfie basically, looking at it, and then you send it in, upload it onto the YouTube account. You will have to change the settings to make sure that your classmates can see it. If you're worried about privacy, let me know. I might be able to help you. I'm not hugely adept at this stuff, to be honest with you. I just push the buttons and it seems to work, but I make mine public. I don't worry about it. I mean, who's going to watch a conversation between classmates? I doubt that people are going to be poking around in there, but I just make mine fully public, and then I include the link. What you will do then is take the link and copy and paste it over onto the discussion forum. If you play around with the discussion forum, there is a way that you can load it where it actually comes up as your picture, and then all we do when we watch it is hit play and we can see your video. I'll give you instructions next week. I'm just giving you a heads up so that I don't surprise you with it a week from today, really a week from Monday when it's posted is your assignment. So all that to say is I just want to see your faces and hear your voices a little bit as you're grappling with the material that we're going through. I enjoyed reading your first papers as well. I just want to let you know, if any of you were concerned about the grade that you earned, there is a little paragraph on page 4. I want to make sure I have the right syllabus in front of me. Yes, this is ours. On page 4 of our syllabus that says that you can revise any writing assignment in this class. Or response paper. So what that means is there's a deadline stated there, and there's a paragraph that explains what you need to do. It's more than just go in and accept changes on the edits that I might have made on your paper. That's not doing a whole lot of work. It would mean that you would go in and certainly correct any errors, but also make some kind of notable content change. It could be that you had a lower grade because your paper wasn't as focused as it could be, because there were places where perhaps you could have had more specific information or examples or outside sources. So pay attention to my comments. If you choose to do revisions, you can do them for all of the papers that we have in this course up until, I'm looking at the deadline, midnight on October 21st. So yes, you could turn them in all at once. It's not my favorite time when everybody in the class chooses to do that, but I take that on myself. So I will look through them. You can earn up to 1 full grade higher than the initial grade that you earned. So if you earned a C and you weren't happy with it, you can earn a B that will completely replace the C. I have a lot of students who take advantage of that and end up getting the grade that they want in the course, even if they're not getting the initial grades that they expected on the papers. On the papers, if you did get a grade that was lower than perhaps you're used to getting or that you expected to get, understand a couple things. Number one, I do set a high bar, but the bar doesn't move. The reason I set a high bar is that, sort of like the readings that we're looking at, we're not aiming at mediocrity. I want you to emerge from this course and emerge from your time in our department and with your degree in hand with a sense of what it means to produce excellent work, whether it's an email, a report that you need to do for a boss, a letter that you're writing to somebody that's expressing your opinion, whatever it might be. There should be no errors. right? So I want you to think about people in the business world that you might employ to do something for you, not necessarily as a business person yourself, but perhaps as an individual in society. Whether I am asking someone to repair my transmission or clean my house or do surgery on one of my children, whatever it might be, I will always pay attention to their communication to me, whether it's a website that I'm looking at or it's an email that they've sent to me. And I just want you to think honestly, when you see an error, what goes through your mind? So for the vast majority of us, our first thought is that perhaps that person is uneducated. All right, now let's weigh it. If it's a physician, that's going to make me nervous, right? Because they should be highly educated. If it's a service industry, it might not matter as much. But where do I go next? It might be okay that they're not as educated or even uneducated, but I can't help but go to a place that wonders if perhaps they're lazy. And people will think that of you, and you have to be darn careful, because if I conclude, even if it's erroneous, that because somebody has not checked through their work to make sure that standard agreed upon grammar rules are met, that perhaps they're a little bit lazy, those are not the people that I'm going to hire. And I don't want you to have that mark on you. I want you to emerge from this program confident that you know the finite rules of grammar. They're not that difficult. So I want you to pay attention in your papers if you're disappointed in the points that you earned. If you see a lot of comments over on that right side, I don't really want to be making all those. Trust me, an AP paper is so much easier to grade because I can simply say, yay team, give you a little bit of encouragement and maybe mark a couple things, but move on. That is much easier for me in the job that I do, but that's not all that I'm called to do. I am called to bring you up to meet that bar. So pay attention to patterns in the comments. Are you having marks consistently about, for example, commas? All right, well, there are 5 comma rules, and you have access to a book that I wrote. I'm reaching over here so I can show you the hard copy of it. Looks like this. You have access to it on the top of our Foxtail site. It's a free open textbook, and it has the most basic rules of grammar. If you're not sure, look in this book. I've tried to delineate the chapters so it's really easy to go directly to what you want to look up, whether it's semicolons or run-on sentences or what is a main verb after all, and why do I even need to know that? It's in there. If you're not sure where, send me an email. I can tell you very quickly. Okay? Content. If I am asking questions about content, I am really in this class in particular quite generous in terms of content. Unless I'm not understanding what you're saying, then that becomes a problem of communication, just like we're reading about, but we're hearing from our speakers on TED Talks and reading about in the materials. So I want to make sure that the way that you express your ideas comes through very cleanly, very clearly the first time. When you have writing that is error-free, that is meeting the expectations that your readers will always have for what is your purpose here, what is the claim that you're making, what is the evidence that is backing up your claim. If you are meeting those components, guess what? Your readers can focus on you. They can focus on your ideas, your innovations, what you're bringing to the table. If you have errors in those things, then they can't. And that's when your voice likely will not be heard. It will be dismissed. It will go lower on the rung. And that's not what I want for you. So take this class as an opportunity to really improve your writing and make sure that you're communicating clearly. For our papers, I don't have an expectation of, gosh, in terms of content, I really want you to argue this thing. Not at all. We are exploring together. And you'll notice a theme in all of the questions that I'm asking you. I'm constantly asking you to apply. Well, bring in your own experiences. What do you think? Does this hold true? I never mind if you question a book that we're reading. If you critique it, that is very healthy and it's a good skill to learn. So that's not going to offend me at all. I encourage you to do that. Where you might not earn as high of a score, and this would fit with the rubric, is if you're not able to do that. If you're, for example, just regurgitating text but not actually applying it or demonstrating understanding, or if you're ignoring the text and just telling a story, talking about your own things, where real learning happens and where the wisdom that actually is in our TED Talk for this week is occurring is when the two merge. So you take the new information that we're learning in this class together and you're merging it with your own experiences or what you think your future experiences might be. If you'd rather talk in that way, that's fine as well. But I need you really engaging fully. So if you have questions about your first papers, please don't sit there frustrated. Just send me an email. I'm happy to explain if some of my comments don't make sense. If you're not sure about a rule, take advantage of the Portland Writing Center if you've got a lot of comments over on that right side that are just basic grammar errors. Your discussion forums, I'm enjoying very much. If for any reason you're not getting full credit there, that should be an easy grade, frankly. If you're not getting full credit, then you have not submitted on time for both the initial post and then the subsequent responses, or you are not hitting the word limits, actually the word count expectations, so you need to aim for those and hit those pretty closely. If you're going a little bit over, that's probably fine, although there's something to be said for being concise, right? And number 3, you need to edit your work as well. I'm not as concerned in the discussion forums because I do view them as a discussion that you have absolute perfection. If you've got an error or 2 in grammar, I probably will overlook it. Where I'm concerned is if I am not getting your content. If I have to back up and reread, then I assume your peers probably are as well. That becomes an issue. So I am looking forward to jumping into our next book together and seeing how it flows with the Be the Boss book, frankly, whether the ideas work together or they're a counter with each other. And I'm also excited for you to see our TED Talk for this week. I'm looking forward to hearing from you, and please don't hesitate to let me know if you have any questions. God bless.